Good afternoon, everybody. Another quick segment of Frankly My Dear. Basically, man, I just want to touch on someone in one of the groups I'm in on Facebook. They asked the question of, will Triple G, if he wins, fight Jamal Charlo, who is right now the WBC mandatory challenger. Just want to give my quick thoughts on it, man. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Like I told the guy up there, I think at this point in Triple G's career, based on how he waited around for Canelo, based off him fighting Vanez Monterosen, guy who was way smaller than him, guy who hadn't fought in 2 years. I think at this point in Triple G's career, man, he's in the business decision portion of his career. I do think there was a time where Triple G guys were ducking Triple G. Okay, there was a time where they were ducking him, but that time has passed. Let's be honest. The middleweight division was kind of sorry when Triple G had his run. And sometimes I hate saying that because I feel like people used to do that with Roy Jones too. Which, if you look, he really didn't. It really was. His division wasn't as sorry as people try to make it seem at the time, but I feel like sometimes people do tend to try to discredit people by saying that the competition division wasn't tough at the time. But honestly, none of those guys in middleweight during Triple G's run were anything. They weren't any guys who were going to be remembered as some great champions. Guys like Lemieux and Jacobs, guys who don't really have a legendary status. Anything of that nature. No one who, put it this way, no one who was a real threat. The biggest threat did end up being actually Danny Jacobs, but he never really fought any guys that were a real threat. Okay, and they build this image up as this destroyer. This guy who goes in there, just knocks people clean out. But really, Triple G he's really not a brawler. If you really watch Triple G's fights, he's not a guy who's one of those guys who just bang those inside fights like Jared Hurd type, even Mongia, those guys who just throw, just bang with you, okay? And at this point, now there is more competition, in the middleweight division, okay? And I don't think at this point in his career, at his age, this back end, it's obvious that the way he waited for Canelo for this second fight, it's obvious at this point that he's making business decisions. He's trying to get paid as much as possible. At this point, I remember a couple years ago, Triple G, when they would ask him about moving up to fight Ward, I got a reference, 78 Sports TV, by the way, for some of this information. I heard him mention it before, and it's actually coming to mind now. When he did used to talk about fighting Ward, he would always say, I want to be undisputed middleweight champion, and everything was about undisputed with Triple G. I always remember his interviews after every fight. He wanted to be undisputed, but he had the chance to be undisputed because Billy Joe Saunders thought he was in line to fight Triple G. Once Canelo fell through, Billy Joe used to duck Triple G, but Billy Joe was ready. That was Triple G's opportunity to become undisputed, okay? What she claimed he wanted so bad a couple years ago, before the money got to his head. And, I'm not the guy. I'm never going to knock a guy getting his money. But my thing is, people can't sit out here and act like Triple G is this feared man anymore. Charlo wants a piece of him. Andrade, weird as he is, the winner of that, and Billy Joe Saunders is going to want a piece of him. Derevyanchenko was the IBF mandatory. Triple G was stripped of that belt because he wouldn't fight Derevyanchenko, okay? Who's fighting Danny Jacobs for the IBF title. Okay, so whoever wins that fight is going to want a piece of him. So Triple G got he got some good options, man, to submit his legacy, in my opinion. But I don't know if he's going to do it, man. He could have fought Derevyanchenko when he was the IBF mandatory instead of fighting Monterosen. He could fight Danny Jacobs again, give him the rematch, and I don't think he wants any piece of Jamal Charlo. He's never fought a guy like Jamal Charlo. you know, and I think that's going to remain the same. I can't see him fighting them. Much as Triple G loves them belts, you know, Abel Sanchez has already said that, you know, ain't pretty much nobody gonna make them do anything they don't want to do. Even if he do got a mandatory, they don't care what they say. They not gonna fight him if they don't want to fight him. So will Triple G fight Jamal Charlo? Doubt it. Okay. The reason I'm not talking about Canelo, because I actually do feel like Canelo will fight. Is willing to, you know, they're talking about him potentially fighting Spence, which would be a great fight. I feel, you know, I think Canelo at this point in his career still wants to fight the top guys, and I'm not so certain about Triple G, man. I'm really not. I think he's at the point he want to cash out, leave his legacy intact as it is. You know, I think when people start digging on his legacy, they gonna see that yes, he was avoided, but he also did not beat very many great fighters. You know, he was very much elevated through the media, you know, which they like to do with certain fighters, okay? And I think he was elevated because during the time when he was coming up, there were, you know, people weren't fans of Floyd Mayweather, who probably was a perfect boxer. They didn't like that style, you know. They were looking for the next guy, next Tyson type, you know, guy who could just knock heads off. And Triple G was doing that at a fast pace. But at this point, man, I don't see Triple G fighting any of these guys, man. I hope he does. I hope he does not go digging, trying to get a 154-pounder again. Just fight. If you could beat these three guys, man, all hats off to you. Triple G will probably jump into top 20, top 25 all-time greatest fighters if he can knock all three of these guys off, okay? But including Canelo, you know, that's a lot, man. If he can knock off Canelo, Charlo, Danny Jacobs again, if he can knock these guys, Billy Joe, if he can knock these guys off, man, you know, hats off to him. But I don't see it. We'll see how it goes. Anyways, that's just my quick thoughts on it, man. Like I said, somebody asked me about it, so I said let me do a quick video on it. Anyways, y'all hit the subscribe button, like button, comment, share my videos. Let me know what you all think. Y'all have a productive day. One.